Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
What's the most pointless thing you've spent hours doing, only to realize it was completely useless? Thinking about conversations hours after they happened and trying to think of what I could have said differently. Try years. I'm still coming up with great comebacks for arguments I had in the 3rd grade. Arguing with strangers on the internet. Arguing with anyone who is closed-minded really. So Reddit. Reading 200 Amazon reviews for a sponge. Ended up not buying it. The accuracy of this comment just punched me in the stomach. Open mouth smile. The hours I spent poring over reviews to find the best humidifier. Ended up picking one up on a whim. It was $14 in the Walmart clearance bin. It works fine, thumbs up. Spent hundreds of hours making a large and complicated cross-stitch sampler for a close family member's wedding. Spent a fortune framing it. They got divorced. I can't even stand to think about what happened to it. Lesson learned. My mother taught me how to stitch and she made me promise to never give anything I had made to someone who isn't also a stitcher or in the family. She also made me keep the first thing I finished so that I could see my progress. She said, they will never appreciate the work that goes into it unless they also make things. My rules are, 1. You get a birth sampler if you are born. I design each one and they take me about a week to do. 2. You get a framed wedding sampler. This is the same pattern I have been using since the mid-1980s and it takes me a few weeks. 3. You get a Christmas stocking the first Christmas you are part of the family. This takes me about a week to do. I pay someone else to finish it for me. I will make things for my mother, my grandmother, and my aunt because they truly will cherish anything I give them. Also, they have promised to return them to me upon the deaths. My mom has an entire wall in her dining room with all my cross-stitch things she's made, and handmade pieces from friends. I will occasionally make Christmas ornaments for my sister-in-law and nieces. They are artsy craftsy so they get it. I have a close group of stitching friends and I have made a few things for them. They know how rare it is for me to give my work away and I see them using the scissors fobs or needle books. Anytime I teach someone to stitch I make them promise me they will be stingy with their work. I've had some people say, that seems selfish. I say, you deserve your best work. You don't want to find something you've spent hours on in a yard sale. Oh, and talking about wedding samplers, I have reworked 2 wedding samplers for people who got divorced. I picked out the names and dates and put new text in. Even if the marriage can't be salvaged, the cross-stitch can be. I made my Miller lap quilt one year, first quilt I'd ever finished. I had made a lot of pretty fronts but hated batting and backing it all together, and a year or so later we went over to their place and I spotted it in a pile of stuff, completely cut up to shit. Maybe she used some fabric for another project. I don't know because I never asked. But now I can't stand her lol. Not nearly the same, but one year a few days before Christmas, my brother told me his girlfriend actually had a Christmas present for me, and she was bringing her daughter with her to our Christmas. I quick whipped up 2 knit hats for them, wrapped them pretty, and gave them to them. I did not receive anything in return, which is fine, but I wouldn't have spent the 3 days before Christmas furiously knitting hats if I knew she wasn't bringing anything. We could have just all been fine with giving each other nothing. Did you ask your brother about it later? I would have, but I'm petty like that. Open mouth smile. Years ago my sister's now ex attended our family Christmas, and like an hour before gift exchange he went, oh by the way I don't do presents, nothing needed either. As if we didn't all already have something for him at that point. I spent hundreds of hours making a papier-mâché sculpture for my best friend of 20 years. It was a glittering flame fountain with the underside painted with The Last Unicorn, her fave childhood movie. The unicorn's horn was magic and among her fave colors it shot glitter up the fountain onto the central spire which was topped by a pearl. It represented her beautiful soul and I naively hoped that if she saw how lovely I thought she was maybe she'd overcome her addictions and get better. Instead, she tried to sell me out to her other best guy friend's porn gang. Moved into a new house and the back lawn was pretty nice but noticed the lawn and weeds growing up the fence on all 3 sides so I assumed they had mowed the lawn and didn't edge it. I watered that lawn for 2 weeks before I noticed it was fake. I'm just imagining the neighbors peering out from the curtain. Should we tell him? How long will it take him to realize? Teehee, tears of joy. My first thought was thank God it was the backyard where no one could see me lol. The sad part was, I was damn proud of myself for keeping that lawn alive. My wife watered a fake orchid for 2 years. You're good. How do people not realize plants are fake? A quick touch or bend of a left gives it away immediately. Scrolling through Netflix for an hour only to rewatch The Office for the 12th time. I once read Americans spend an average of 40 minutes a night sifting through various streaming services looking for something to watch. There has to be a better way. At this point, the real entertainment is scrolling itself, just a ritual of hope and quiet disappointment before rewatching The Office again out of sheer decision fatigue. When my manager got fired, I picked up his responsibilities thinking it would help me move up. All of our department's numbers got better. My co-workers were much happier because I let them have more flexible schedules and I approved pretty much every time off request. I spoke with my GM and he claimed to be on board with me moving up but said that he couldn't open the position up right away. About 6 months later they opened the position up for applications, so I put my resume in, then they hired someone else that never worked in the industry, so he didn't know how to do anything and he was acting extremely rude to customers when they requested certain services that our company specifically specialized in. About 1 month later he decided the job wasn't for him, so he stepped down and they transferred him to a different location to avoid drama. My GM immediately tried to have me fill in again without promoting me, but I told him to fuck off. Now I work for one of their competitors and I make roughly 50% more an hour above my former co-workers with a much better benefit package, and I don't have to do any management work. It was not a waste of time. What the evil overlord meant for your detriment was used for your own embetterment in the end. For the co-workers too, the ones who truly want change will realize that this place will not allow good things. Change is hard. You absolutely needed to get that fed up in other to move on. Good luck, though you won't need it trophy. Back in 2009 or 2010, there was this website that just launched, called Lockers. For everyone that you referred to the website that signed up, it was free, you got points. Get enough points, and you can redeem them for free stuff like video games during their first release. So I signed up like 150 people. Mostly random internet people who were trying to do the same thing I was doing, and some people who I personally knew. When the first release window came, the website crashed from heavy traffic, so I was unable to redeem my points. Second and third release window as well. It was then that I realized that it was all just one big scam to get people to sign up for their website. I wasted hours getting people signed up for that stupid site. I remember a site called freeloader.com in about 2001. You interacted with ads and signed up to ad mailing lists to get points that you could spend on digital games. It was 100% real and official. Most of the games were registered versions of crap shareware games, but they had GTA 1 as their big flagship game. I spent hours on the site building up points to get GTA. My dad only let me online for 10 minutes at a time too, then the site suddenly shut down because they ran out of money and were running at a loss. Thinking back, I probs wouldn't have been able to download it in the limited time I was allowed online anyway. Telling myself negative things about myself. That insane body I had 20 years ago. I thought it was trash at the time. I could stand to lose a little pinch here. Earning degrees. I took it for granted. Awards. Compliments, I rejected them. Now I just say, thank you, and try to be nice to myself inside my brain. It's been life-changing. Worry is a waste of imagination. Don't remember where I saw that, but sometimes it helps. OMG yes. My body was perfect aged 17 to 25. I had no clue how lucky I was. As Oscar Wilde said, youth is wasted on the young. Well, I think he said that. Closing parenthesis. Scrolling Reddit. Exactly. I mean, asking this question here is kind of funny. And scrolling through comment section to comment, this is crazy. I learn stuff from this place. It's great if you've got any hobbies as well. You can find inspiration or helpful information. That's why I keep it around. My only social media that I still have. I used to work at a pizza and sub shop. We used sliced white American cheese for the subs and it came in 3-pound blocks. Each slice was offset from the other so that you could easily peel it off for serving. The owner made us slice the block down the middle into halves, then peel and restack the cheese from being in a rectangle shape to being an X shape. It was completely useless as the cheese was already easily separated with the offset manner of packaging. It was 25 years ago and I think about it weekly. What a totally useless and inefficient waste of everyone's time. Hey, if the owner wants to pay them to restack cheese instead of something actually productive for the shop, it's his money, and ultimately his business going out of business. Sure, he'll blame it on the workers costing too much, but you can't fix stupid. I spent a few hours drawing the complete blueprint of a choose-your-own adventure book by going back and forth and finding all possible 400 steps and how they're intertwined. I felt a huge sense of accomplishment and learned a lot about how they're structured, but in the end it was completely useless and a waste of my time. If you felt a huge sense of accomplishment and/or had a good time doing it, etc., it wasn't a waste of your time. It's only a waste if you didn't even like doing it. I spent ages fiddling with my iTunes library and now do the same with my Plex One, but I enjoy it. Time spent enjoyed is never time wasted. I spent weeks learning how to code and I made my own website for teachers to play a game in class. Got it fully functional. Later I was describing it to a friend and he said, oh kind of like ______.com, which is when I realized someone had already made my idea happen. Skills are forever, who cares if Simone had the same idea. I still prefer mine over the professional site even though it looks like it was made by an amateur. One good thing is that you can input questions about 10x faster too. It was https://zombo.com, wasn't it? You can do anything there. Manually editing ID3 tags on my entire MP3 collection back in the mid-2000s. Now, I did that too, but I actually still use MP3s and still use Winamp. So it wasn't lost effort. It was tedious fun back then. Like watching your hard drive defrag. Yes brother, this is the way. There are dozens of us holding on to the old ways. Am I supposed to use a music player that doesn't whip the llama's ass? Preposterous.